Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to walk you through a quick tutorial on how to use Picflo going forward. At this point, you already have a project that's been created. This is a wedding that's been booked already. It's upcoming. You're about to meet with your client. You're going to go through the project timelines. You're going to go through shot lists. You're going to go through wedding day itineraries. You're going to get alignment on the vision that the couple has, the sections of the day. At this point, we hope that either the couple has already been a collaborator in the project, or you may choose to invite them to become a collaborator on the project. I'm going to explain what all that means as we go through this. So let's get started. So what the heck is Picflo? For those of you who are new to Picflo and weren't necessarily involved in the sales side, the consultation side of the process, Picflo is your operating system of how an entire wedding project gets created from the initial point that a client met with the studio all the way to the execution point. And so what we want to do today is we really want to dive in and look at some of the features and functions of like what can Picflo actually do and how it works. So most importantly, you don't need to make any notes anymore. Everything is already in here. There's a transcriber that records your calls, and I'm going to show you how to start that transcriber in a moment. But if you think about Picflo, it's kind of like the command center for each wedding. Instead of scattered emails, notes, messages, everything lives in one place. This is where you prepare, you run your call, you reference the plan on the wedding day, and that's called the execution plan. So I'll show you how that works as well. A quick overview, we're going to, in this session, we're going to cover the couple details, the timeline, the locations, overall structure of the day. This replaces digging through emails, trying to remember things. You should always start here first. So we call this part the pre-call prep with flow. Before every call, you spend about 60 seconds just getting acquainted with previous conversations that may have already happened to familiarize yourself and remind yourself what's going on, context, who the couple is, what their interests are, what they have specifically talked about in the past. You want to really personalize this call. When you go into these calls, you really want to feel super confident. You want to be hyper knowledgeable. You're leading these calls. And so I want to show you how to do that. So where I like to start is I just like to click on this here. So this is Flow. So this is our canvas, and we'll come back to what all these components are in a second. But I like to start here. Ask Flow. So you can just click on summarize what we know about this project. And we are basically pulling from the transcript from the previous call. And Flo has context. She's venue aware. She knows everything that's going on. So this is a Jewish wedding. It's at Statler in Buffalo, New York. Old Hollywood glam meets modern minimalism. Molly's really anxious about unposed candids. She doesn't feel super comfortable in like kind of how she looks in candids, she specifically said. So, we're going to work through all that stuff. The key moments are going to be there's a hora, there's a ketubah signing, there's a huppah, there's a champagne tower. So that's all important stuff. The couple's getting ready nearby at the hotel. It's called, at the Hyatt, which is not too far away. And we got a first look around 1:30. So that's the high level stuff that we need to know about. Now let's ask Flo, tell me 5 more important things that we know about the couple. So based on the consultation, here are 5 additional notes. Relationship origin. They met on Hinge about 2 years ago. Gaddy's from Philly. Molly's from Buffalo. Shared interest. They love their favorite weekends involve bopping around the city with no plans, hanging out at cool restaurants, have high family values. The guest dynamic, their guests list is an even 3-way split between their friends, Molly's friends and family, and Gaddy's friends and family. And they want to keep the average age lower to ensure a high energy party. Great. While Gaddy likes bread and butter classics, Molly specifically wants something that's a little bit more artistic and creative. So she described that she likes movement and flow. Gaddy's, really keen on getting kind of classic and timeless family portraits. So that's all that kind of good stuff that we need to know. And we can dive in deeper if you want to ask anything else, or if you want to take the time and go back in and read through the transcript, I think that's not a terrible idea as well. But again, Flo is here to basically make this all super easy for you. So let me give you like the high level components of what all these things are and what they do and how they work. So let's start at the top. So we got on the top left over here, we got our vision board. This is generated from the conversation that we initially had with the couple. And so let's zoom in. So to zoom in, we hit the Command plus button, or you can click this zoom button down here. I like using the keyboard shortcuts. So on a Mac, I would hit Command plus to zoom in, and I'm using my mouse trackpad, or you can use your laptop trackpad to scroll. So now that we're zoomed in, I can see Molly and Gaddy, the venue, the wedding date, and I can see some of the elements that were discussed. So they talked about champagne towers. They talked about this idea of, the venue has this old world Hollywood glam, but Molly specifically wants more of like that minimal style. So we're going to mix beautiful architecture with some of the minimalism. Great. So we got that. That's our starting point. That's kind of how this conversation starts. They were really excited about this vision board. They felt that it was very much aligned. In the center, we got this hand-drawn element of the venue. So this is kind of where we kick things off. And by this time, the couple already knows that they're expecting us to be like working from this project canvas. And what I mean by the project canvas is the idea that everything takes place on one beautiful screen, super easy to access. And let's go through section by section. So we know that we're going to be doing bride getting ready photos. These are some of the images that we've already shared with them. We will talk about how we can drill in and update and edit some of these images, whether you want to do it prior to the call because the couple has already shared a Pinterest board with you, or if you want to do that on the call, or if you want to do it after the call. It's really up to you to now like curate and create this vision board of what we're going to do. Again, if it doesn't happen in Picflo, it probably doesn't get done. And that's really important, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to elevate your level of quality. We want you to choose aspirational images that you want to shoot. And this is the place to get that creative alignment with your couples. So we got the groom getting ready section here. I really love this idea of cool, candid, effortless images, but also mixed in with some of the timeless stuff. And so again, this kind of comes back to that creative direction and alignment. Bridal party examples. When we talked about the first look with the couple, this is the vibe they want. They really want this idea of like timeless elegance, but movement and flow. And so there's all sorts of really cool images that we've chosen here. And so this is a mix of both Picflo choosing some content and also us then also layering in some content in here. Ceremony images, cocktail hour, the reception. Some of these images we actually have already manually populated in here because they really want a party vibe that they discussed over the call. They like this idea of like this old, historic, beautiful architecture that is obvious from the venue. We got these different vantage points where you get up high and shoot down low. For example, over here. So very, very aligned with what they're seeing. You can see a mix of family photos here, from candids and contemporary and timeless posing. And so we can get some further alignment of how much time do we have to do these family portraits. We love this idea of staged photos, meaning like, staggered photos where you have some folks sitting. That's always nice to do when you have the time to do it. So what we can also talk to the couple about is, hey, give us more time to do this stuff as well. That's going to be a really important part of this conversation that you're going to have. And same thing here. When we want to take advantage of this beautiful property and we want to like shoot all over the place, we need that time, right? So from the first look transitions into getting ready and all that. From first look transitions into the couple portraits and the bridal party photos. That's a great opportunity for us to do that. So this is also what we call venue logistics. And so this is super cool. We can see like the average temperature on the wedding day. We can see when the sun is going to rise and set on that day. So we can kind of plan for magic hour if we want to like sneak out with the couple towards the end of the evening, throughout dinner at some point or something like that. Over here, you have your itinerary. And I'll show you how we create this itinerary as well, but it's quite accurate and it's a great place to start. And so over this call, I imagine that when you jump on the call with the couple, you're going to probably go in and start to tweak this itinerary around a little bit. And so, and then we've got our shot list and we've got a pretty detailed shot list. And again, the shot list can be edited manually. So you can open up any of these cards and you can edit the shot list manually, or you can ask Flow to, help you edit the shot list as well. We can also see who is where and what and when. Where do you have to be for this? So the shoot window is, shown here. We have about 45 minutes allocated for this. It's taking place likely in the main hall. And again, Flow has suggested the locations for a lot of this stuff as well for us. So let's go back out. And what we're going to now do is we're going to take a better look at how to first start your call. So let's go to the transcriber. So we can see call number 1. That was the initial consultation call, but we're doing a follow-up call now. And so what you would do is you would simply copy and paste your Google Meets or Zoom link right in here, and you click Start Meeting Bot. I suggest doing this 5 minutes prior to call time. So you've read your notes, you're prepared for the call. Now the call is going to be super smooth because you know the details. And you also jumped on the call a few minutes before, so that way you can invite Flow into your call. So you copy paste, Start Meeting Bot, Flow will start automatically transcribing the call. I always like the idea of also having, if you're using Google Meets, having Gemini notes also transcribe the call, because you can use that as a backup. And so what we're doing in this case is I'm using a fictitious sort of like mock call as a second call, because these guys, their wedding is not till next year. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. So what you see here is actually what we would realistically see on a second call happen. And so now we got the transcription, and that's great. Okay, so now what we're also going to do is, now that we're closer to the wedding date, because this call, imagine it's April 18th today and the wedding's happening May 27th, and we're just meeting a couple prior to the call. Let's now take this new call's transcript. And what we're going to do is, now that we've, met with a couple, we've asked them a bunch of questions, perhaps they have filled out the pre-wedding day worksheet. That information would also populate in here, by the way. And so what we're going to simply do is we're going to click on Replace Itinerary. So we're going to hit Replace. We're going to hit Paste Text. We're going to take that call transcription from the second call, because now this is where our wedding details are. And we're going to hit Extract Timeline. Flow's thinking. We're going to give it a minute to think here. Flow's going to process this and give us a very accurate, updated timeline. While it's doing that, we can actually start to look at some of these other sections. And what I will, actually, never mind, hold on. Let's go back here. Let's look at our wedding day timeline. Bride gets ready at 11:30 at the Hyatt. The first look is at 1:30 p.m. Couples portraits, 1:50 immediately following. 2:15 is the full bridal party. 2:45 is the ketubah signing. 4:30 is the ceremony. Now, let's say, for example, some of those are actually off. So we'll do a couple things here. Number one, I actually want to add a section because it didn't capture the groom getting ready. So we're going to say event name, groom getting ready. And that's also taking place at the same time. We're going to do split coverage. 11:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. And here we have our lead photographer. Here we're going to add a second. Sorry, that's wrong. I was supposed to do it here. Second. And here we've got the groom plus groomsmen. Easy. And we're going to choose getting ready photos. Okay, and so that's like, I'm using a template here. I can make that manual or not, but anyhow, that's what I'm going to do. So bride gets ready at the Hyatt. Groom gets ready at the Hyatt as well. And that goes to 1:30. We got a gap in time here between 1 and 1:30, which the couple wanted. And so, but if we wanted to change that, let's say we were saying, you know what, let's change this to 1:15 to give us a little bit more time. Simply do that there. There we go. The other thing I noticed, the ketubah signing. The ketubah signing actually happens at 3:30, 30 minutes before the ceremony. So sometimes the transcriber may not pick up on this stuff. So 3:30, and it goes right until like 3:50, call it. Boom. So you go through, you dial in your details. It's done, like, call it 80 to 90% of the work for you. And if you need to add any of those additional sections, you can easily do that. I want to add another section. So events. Do we have family photos in here? Nope. So what we want to do is we want to go, remaining family photos. There we go. Okay, so that's between, right immediately following the full bridal party. And we're going to probably add family photos between 2:40 and 3:30. That's where that belongs. I'm going to say family photos, event name, family photos. It's at the venue. The photographers are going to be both lead and second. And here we're going to say family. And for shot list, we're actually going to just go down and choose our family photos. We got 32 groupings that are our defaults. So we're going to choose that. We're going to hit save. So let's go back out. Let's look at our itinerary. Let's make sure we're happy with it. Let's zoom in here. And we can see that from 11:30, we got bride getting ready, groom getting ready, 1:15 first look, 1:50 couple portraits, full bridal party photos, family photos, ketubah signing, wedding ceremony, remaining family photos. These are the extended folks, that these people who are not the immediate family. We go into like this extended long cocktail hour. It's like an hour long from 5 to 6. Then the reception. And again, you can go back and you can change all this stuff and you can fill in the details as you need to. But remember, you're not stressing too much because we've got this call script. We got the transcriber. So we got all your notes in there. Now let's go in and let's edit and tweak some of the couple portraits. Let's say, for example, the couple has some images in a Pinterest board that they really want to include. And, let's say this image does not apply. So this idea of like these cool sunglasses and whatever. So I'm going to click it. And so I have two options. One, I can simply drag and drop directly from Pinterest right into here, or open this up and I can find something perhaps a little bit more timeless and classic that probably applies. I want to do like this cool shot. Let's say this guy here. I like that image there. So I swap that out. This is more aligned with the overall direction and creative. Cool. So you can swap those images. You can do them on the call. You can do them after the call. The couple can go in and do them. It doesn't really matter. But the idea here is that we have now dialed this in and we've created a timeline, an itinerary, our vision board, our section cards, right? So we know exactly what we're going to shoot on the day. We've got shot lists. And so let's say, for example, we want to add additional shots, or we want to tweak these shots. This is our family photo list. We can open this up and we can kill some of these shots. See these additional family groupings. This is like, let's say we want to kill those, or we can add these things. We can say, for example, bride and groom with their dog. And that way it's there and it's part of our shot list. Now, let's say we're happy with this. Everything's dialed in. We're feeling good, but we want to make a note. We want to make some comments. And so you can simply reference comments here using this comment tab. Down here, this is your nav bar. So you got your zoom in, zoom out, you got your pan, you got comments. And let's say we're going to add a comment anywhere. So we're going to put it on ceremony. we're going to say, reminder, it's a Jewish ceremony, and we are told by the rabbi that we can't enter inside the huppah. Okay, so I'm going to save that as a note for myself. Cool. Great, that's there. And you can go ahead and do that in all sorts of places, however you need to, for these additional comments. Next thing, so we got this edit view over here. So let me zoom in, show you what that looks like. So we're currently looking at the entire thing, but we're going to click execute view. The execute view is what you see on your mobile phone when you go to picflow.ai, app.picflow.ai, you log in, you sign into your project, and then you're going to see this. You're going to see each section of the day. You're going to see where you have to be, when you have to be there, and your shot list. So what I like to do is I like to work with my second photographer and have my second photographer responsible for checking off every shot that we get. While we're on site, we can quickly open up an image and just remind ourselves some of the images that we want to capture. Remember, we don't have to capture everything perfectly, but the idea is this is the creative direction of the day. And so if you can see and sense that there's more movement and more flow, less structure, less portraits, more candidates, more film style. And also you can quickly reference some of the posing. And so this becomes super helpful. And especially if we're trying to elevate the photography and we're trying to really deliver and drive what the couple really wants, this is how we do that. Again, at our fingertips, we got all the information we need. We have exactly where we have to be and when. We've got the entire itinerary dialed in minute by minute, and we can quickly reference this as well. So again, if it doesn't happen here, it doesn't get done. This is how we operate projects. And there you have it. That's Picflow. And by the way, this is when you're in your studio. So we're in Mango and we can see all our projects. We can quickly search for the project we're looking for. So we're looking for Molly. And there we go. There we have it. And that's a project. You pull that up. All right. So that's Picflow. Any questions? You know how to find us. Thank you.